More than 3,000 U.S. Marines arrived in the Middle East this week. Their mission to help deter Iran from seizing and interfering with merchant ships in the Strait of Hormuz.
The troop deployment is part of a growing U.S. military presence in the region. And after 2 years of attempts at diplomacy, the Biden administration is now making a strong show of force. National security correspondent Caitlin Burke reports.
While the U.S. may not be directly involved in any major regional conflict, tensions with Iran are only increasing. The Islamic Regime continues to launch attacks on a key shipping route, in addition to ramping up its nuclear program. Escalations that now demand a renewed American presence in the region.
The best way to avoid war is strength. Reagan said it best, peace through strength.
Thousands of Marines backed by U.S. fighter jets and warships are deploying to the Persian Gulf, a display of military might that's long overdue, according to Nathan Sales, former ambassador at large and coordinator for counterterrorism in the Trump administration.
What Iran has seen so far from the administration is one after another episodes of turning the other cheek. That's a great way to live your life as a private citizen and as a Christian. That's not a great way to run foreign policy.
The latest slap involves the regime increasing its pattern of harassing and seizing ships traveling through the Strait of Hormuz, the waterway that more than 20% of the world's oil must pass through. With Iran now closer than ever to weapons-grade uranium levels, the Biden administration has finally admitted efforts to revive a nuclear deal are done, and that option is no longer on the table.
I think the important question for us to be asking the White House is, what took you so long? It's not as if Iran has been dramatically worsening its behavior lately. This is all par for the course. We've looked the other way for a good 2.5 years.
Along with this military show of force, Gabriel Nerona, former State Department special advisor for Iran, says the administration is still offering Iran concessions, giving the regime an impression that it holds the leverage in nuclear negotiations.
The State Department is still trying to negotiate something where they give sanctions relief to Iran in exchange for Iran pausing its enrichment or doing a little bit less there.
Nerona tells CBN News that while China may be the administration's top priority, the U.S. response to Iran could make a major difference in how Beijing moves forward.
If the United States sets a red line over Iranian nuclear activity, that better be something that we're willing to actually enforce, because the results, if we don't enforce that red line, could be a completely green light to China to go and invade Taiwan.
Since the beginning of the year, we've also seen an increase in joint military exercises between the U.S. and Israel. Nerona and Ambassador Sales believe this sends a message of unity and support to allies in the region, while hopefully enabling them to step out and take on a larger role themselves. Andrew?
Caitlin, thanks for reporting on this. What about this situation in particular? How serious is this situation in the Strait of Hormuz right now?
Andrew, since 2019, there have been a series of attacks on shipping vessels traveling in the Strait of Hormuz. And with such a large U.S. presence there now, the problem clearly isn't getting better. In response to the military buildup in the Persian Gulf, Iran has basically told the U.S. to mind its own business. But you have to remember that we have an interest there. The Strait of Hormuz is the world's most important oil shipping route. Ships have to pass through there to get oil out of the Middle East, and about 17 million barrels a day go through. So ultimately, that accounts for 20 to 30% of the world's oil consumption. Along with sending the 3,000 soldiers to the Gulf that are there now, the White House is also talking about putting armed sailors and merchant marines on commercial ships. So this is definitely something that is being taken seriously.
Yeah, different approach by the administration. And they tried to bring back the Iran nuclear deal, as your report mentioned. That failed. Is it possible that Iran could already have a nuclear weapon?
Well, we know that diplomatic efforts are ongoing in some way, but according to a recent U.S. intelligence report, no, Iran is not believed to currently be pursuing nuclear weapons, but they have ramped up activities that could help in developing them. So basically, according to U.S. intelligence, they have stopped just short of crossing that line for now. Andrew?
All right. Caitlin, thanks so much for being with us today.